Testing, testing, sound check. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. If you're here in person to provide public comment, thank you. You can provide your public comment card up front. I see we have some hands on the Zoom platform. First hand I see is Jill. Jill, good morning. Do you have general public comment or comment on any agenda items?
General.
Thank you. And I see we have Gigi. Gigi, do you have general public comment or any agenda items?
Just general today.
Thank you very much. All right, President King, it's 10 o'clock. We will start recording and we can go ahead and get started.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for Friday, October 17, 2025. Ms. Zatorsky, please take roll and establish quorum.
Yes, of course. Today we are joined by hello everyone, Devin Sikorsky with the Board of Public Works. We're joined today by President King, Vice President Chavez, President Pro Tem Grant, Commissioner Mitchell, and Commissioner Cardenas, and we have a quorum. We're also joined by our City Attorney Representative, Ms. Daryl Field today. We do have public comment in person and on the Zoom platform, and we have multiple item comment just in person today.
Thank you very much. We will get started with general public comment, which is an opportunity for the public to address the board on public interest items and will be provided up to 1 minute per person, up to a cumulative total of 10 minutes for the general public comment segment of each regular meeting. Testimony shall be limited in content to subject matters which are within the jurisdiction of the Board of Public Works. The board may not take any action on any matters discussed during the public comment period. We will get started with in-person speakers. First up, we have Audit Lay. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you. Okay, well, we know what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking today about the Scientology's Halloween permit. I am very grateful to see that it has not been approved as of yet, and I'm going to just ask that you could please continue that. Last weekend, I went to the Faith in Blue event, which they were just part of, not even the main things, and they, of course, had LAPD violate my rights by just kicking me out. Just as Laura and I, as we're just coming in the door, I mean, not even, into the event, for no reason other than viewpoint discrimination, and what they assumed was prior restraint, but we weren't going to do anything. We're just, documenting and enjoying the event. But so because of all their failures to abide by the rules and the law, I am asking you to please not give them any permits until they have adjusted their behaviors, if that's even possible. And so, thank you.
Thank you very much. I know there was a speaker card for Laura.
She didn't make it yet.
Okay. If she comes up, we'll bring her up. We'll now transition to our virtual platform.
Great. Our first caller on our virtual platform is Jill. Jill, you'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
I want to just continue along the same thread of what Auditor Lay has just said. Please do not grant the Halloween permit. People that don't follow the laws of the land do not belong doing events if they're not going to follow them and not discriminate against people. I just want to let you know that the world is watching and what's going on in LA. They see what you're doing. They see the abuses. There's lawsuits against this cult. And I just don't think you want to be brought into that as your legacy. And it would be a joke if you continue to allow this to occur in the city of Los Angeles. It would be quite a shame. Bye.
Thank you, caller. Our next caller is Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi, you'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Okay, let's talk about how there's supposed to be parking on L. Ron Hubbard Way. And I wanted to say, back in 97 in that agreement, if there was something already in there that's designated it as no parking, why did they have to, at a later point, go and get some special permit for a year and a half in order to have the no parking? Like, why would they have to do anything if that first permit, revocable permit, allowed them to close off that street to parking for everyone else? Look into the parking, because it's a liability for the city. People that got tickets can end up suing y'all because you can't prove that there's no parking. I yield my time.
Thank you, caller. All right, that's the end on our Zoom platform.
All right, thank you very much. With that, we will close the general public comment portion of today's meeting and move forward with multiple agenda item public comment. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public wishing to speak on more than one agenda item during multiple agenda item comment period for up to a minute per item, up to a total of 3 minutes per meeting. This is the only time to speak on more than one agenda item, and please identify the items that you will speak on when you are called. We will get started with in-person speakers. First up, Audit Lay.
Thank you. Yeah, we're all juggling the bar meeting as well. So I want to talk on, I think it's the 4 and 5, the last two. The first one for Bureau Street Services. I just want to keep saying that I hope finally there will be a report where, you know, the city just acknowledges what the truth is regarding L. Ron Hubbard Way, you know, as far as the no parking. I know that's more of a LADOT, but also just to remind the city that they do not have a vacation, and if they are applying for one, please do not grant it. They don't, you know, like they have not been able to do anything by the book on any level. It's just ridiculous. And then for the last one, for the contracts, I'm asking you guys to please revoke their R permits. Besides just not abiding by any of the rules or the laws, like they have not been, that I can prove, they have not been supplying the proof of insurance that they're required to, you know, for the past 20 some odd years. Would you get would you be able to keep a contract if you were constantly violating the terms? And let's not forget to mention that it's illegal, okay, to have workers making below prevailing wages to be working on any public works, street, or permitted event or R permit if it's over $1,000, right? And so these people are making at most $47 a week if they're lucky. Most of the people who do the hard labor, like what they have you do, polishing the bricks, vacuuming the bricks on L. Ron Hubbard Way, those people are likely in their RPF, and they are making maybe, if they're lucky, $11 a week, and they're working over 100 hours a week. And we have the union president here, and I'm just going to keep reminding you, sir, that there's a bunch of people that are making, they say it's religious exemption, you know, wages, but there is no religious exemptions on our public streets. It's unfair. I am not anti-Scientologist. I am here actually advocating for Scientologists. I am here advocating for those who feel, you know, they don't even know maybe that they can leave. There's just such a brainwashing and a trapping. If you really understand how Scientology works, they can't just get up and walk out and think, you know, and get on with their life. It doesn't work like that. And I am going through a horrific hell of them trying to defame and you know, and every kind of thing against me. And I don't care. I'm going to keep coming, because I'm not afraid of them. You know, like, I can't overlook injustice. I can't overlook what they're doing. And so I'm here regardless. And then Laura is on the way. We do have another book one more book for, we thought it was going to be Adina here today, but I also want to say that, you know, the meeting minutes, I'm just going to keep harping on that a little bit. There's other departments that do kind of fill in a little bit what's going on, just so we know, looking back, the progress or what has been complained, not even just us, but for others who come as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now transition to our virtual platform.
Caller T out of Voice Down Under, please let us know which items you would like to comment on.
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to comment on the item. It was just public comment. Did I miss that?
Yes, that's now closed. We can,
I mean, it is kind of related to it. Sorry, I can, but I guess I can
Okay.
still do it, maybe?
that's up to the discretion of our board president.
Speaker, unfortunately, we have closed general comment. This is for multiple item agenda.
Oh, okay. All right. No worries.
Thank you.
Okay.
Georgina, please let us know which items you would like to comment on.
I'd like to comment on the minutes.
Okay, go ahead. You'll have 1 minute.
I want to know why your tech department hasn't been tasked to fully utilize the system that they have at hand. You guys have access to Granicus, which is what Seattle uses, New York uses, Clearwater uses, Sacramento uses. It's a system where you would be able to embed hyperlinks within your minutes, just click to a video to show who spoke, to show what they talked about. You wouldn't have to really do any work. It's just you drop a link. And also on your YouTube channel where you have the meetings, you don't have the date in the title. Every one of them just has the exact same title. That's pretty useless and ineffectual. I'd hope you guys can get that fixed. Thank you, and I yield back my time.
Thank you, caller. Our next caller is Lurker. Please let us know which items you would like to comment on.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, please let us know which items you would like to comment on.
The minutes,
Okay, you'll have
of course.
You'll have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Okay. This needs to be recorded properly, just like every other. Well, not every other, but most who aren't trying to hide stuff. They put down what is said in these meetings. What's up? Why do you not do that? Why? There's a reason why. Face facts. Do what is right. Get on with your lives and you will live glorious. You have a job to do. Please do it. Don't be a go along to get along gal or sir or whoever identifies. Be a good person. Identify as that. How about we and us? How about identify as we and us? The people of the United States of America. I love
Thank
you
you,
all.
caller.
Please.
That's time. All right, President King, that's the end of our hands raised for multiple item commentary.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will close the multiple item public comment portion of today's meeting and move forward with the approval of minutes for Monday, October 6, 2025. Commissioners, any comments or questions? Seeing none, is there a first and a second?
So move. Second.
First by President Pro Tem Grant, seconded by Commissioner Cardenas.
Okay, roll call. We'll start with you, President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell. And Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes. The minutes are approved.
Thank you very much. Moving forward with our agenda item, first on consent, item number 1. Commissioners, is there a first and a second?
So move.
First by Commissioner Cardenas, seconded by President Pro Tem Grant.
All right, roll call starting with President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell. Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes. The motion carries forthwith.
Thank you very much. Moving forward with item number 2, which is a motion for AFE, State Water Resources Control Board. Please speak directly into the mic, please. If you can pull it down. Yes, that works too. Yes. Make sure it's on. Like, yes.
I'm on.
Okay.
Okay.
A little bit closer.
Good morning again. My name is Rizalina Hamblin. I'm a senior chemist in EMD, Environmental Monitoring Division. I'm here to request for the approval of the annual ELAP fee payment for to be able to renew the accreditation of the 4 laboratories that are located in the 4 reclamation plants of LA Sanitation, the Hyperion, the one in Hyperion, one in Tillman, one in Terminal Island, and one in LA Glendale. The total amount we're requesting is $40,105, which is broken down to $23,530 for Hyperion, which is a bigger lab compared to the rest, and $5,525 for each of the smaller labs. Hyperion, the laboratory in Hyperion is certified for over 500 methods, and the smaller labs are certified for more or less 15 to 20 methods, which are all used to report for the discharge monitoring, daily discharge monitoring of the reclamation plants. We are required to be accredited because it is mandated in the NPDES permits that basically controls or drives the reclamation plants. Anything else?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a question from Commissioner Cardenas.
Yeah, just a question. How many samples are taken either daily or weekly at these different labs, for example, at Hyperion?
For Hyperion, I couldn't really give you a number, but Hyperion is the biggest one because we do analysis for more programs. But the smaller labs are mainly just for to support the plant, the reclamation plant, for the daily operation.
So
But
we-
Hyperion is more, like I said, it's certified for over 500 methods.
So I was just curious how many samples are taken on a periodic basis. Is there any way you can get back to us on that?
I couldn't give a number as far as
No,
samples.
can you get back to us with that
Oh, for
answer?
sure, for sure.
Thank you.
Can I send it by email? Or
Send it to
to Devin.
our executive.
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
Because that is I'm overseeing the accreditation process. So that is the number of samples is basically taken care of the sample receiving
Understood.
unit. But I'm sure I can get the number.
Yes, so please circle back with us via email. And then if you can send it to either Devin, TJ, and then they'll circulate it with the board.
Okay.
Thank you. Really quick, has the expenditure amount has shifted over the years, or has it been consistent with about $40,000?
The fee that they charge has been increasing. The last increase that we went through is a 30% increase, which is like that's why we had to redo this request because of the increase. So it has increased a lot, I would say. From I've been doing this job for 10 years, and from 2016 it has, I would say, double.
Okay.
I'd say double.
Thank you very much. Seeing no other discussions, is there a first and a second?
So moved.
First by Commissioner Cardenas, seconded by Commissioner Mitchell.
Okay, roll call starting with you, President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell. And Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
Great, all ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Moving forward to our oral reports, item number 3, status update on major upcoming street improvement projects from the Bureau of Street Services. Make sure it's on. I think it's off. Yeah. Thank you.
Testing, testing.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, President King, President Chavez, President Pro Tem Grant, Commissioner Mitchell, Commissioner Cardenas, City Attorney, Madam Executive Officer, Bureau Representatives. It is a pleasure to be here once again. My name is Sherrod Nichols. I'm the General Superintendent overseeing the Street Rental Division, responsible for resurfacing, reconstruction, and slurry seal. So this information is being provided to keep the public informed and also to minimize delays. Oh, sorry. So if there's any concerns as far as accommodations or any request, you can reach our team, our coordinating team at 213-847-3200. You can also reach me at 213-847-3200. If there's any concerns, the 25-26 pavement preservation program, we don't have any major projects as of yet. We will have projects in the fourth quarter. But what I can do is provide an update on the large asphalt repairs throughout the city, which from October 19th through October 25th, we'll have a projected 13 locations for 1.37 lane miles. The press releases were distributed. The notifications were issued to the stakeholders. We have coordinated with the council offices and LADOT for traffic concern, assistance, and striping. So for last week and this week, or this week, I'll say, we completed some locations in CD8, CD14, CD6, CD3, and CD10 and CD9, which is Century and Ruth Ellen, Florence Avenue and Crenshaw, Los Angeles, Olympic. We did some projects on Sherman Way, north and south side. Again, these are large asphalt repairs, so it's not the entire street that's being resurfaced. We did a location on Western 18th Street to Washington. So I did provide some photos. So I'll start with the photo that we have in Nordhoff, Nordhoff, Gothic to Havenhurst in CD12. So the before photo shows that we use a level to see the distress in the street. The second photo is a working photo of our team paving the roadway. The person in the middle that's collecting the material, that's our the GSD standards team. They take all the samples, they test them to ensure that they meet all the mixed designs, and later you'll see our standards team to ensure that we have all the compaction. So the last photo is the finished photo of the lane that we did. In the middle there, you see the 99. 99 is the compaction of the roadway. Let's see. The next photo is a location that we had on Western Avenue, Venice Boulevard to 18th Street in CD10. This location was a failed location in the gutter lane. So you'll see the profiler there to remove the material. And on the second page here, you'll see the paver and our team paving the roadway. The last photo is the Sanders team ensuring that the compaction was sufficient. Here you see at the bottom here, it's 97 compaction. This concludes my report, and I'll take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and appreciate you sending over those photos via email.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Commissioner Cardenas.
Yeah, question. The samples that are taken, are they taken before or after I guess, are they taken from the truck or are they taken after it's poured on the ground? What's the process for that?
So it's both. They get samples from the asphalt being delivered and also the asphalt that's being put down or placed in the paver.
And is that analyzed on site or is that taken to the lab to be analyzed?
It's taken to the lab.
So
The GSD standards lab.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Mitchell, did you have a question?
I especially like the picture with the level on Nora.
Thank you.
So you mentioned for the one on Western Avenue in CD10, it was just a portion of the road and not the entire boulevard?
Right. Usually the buses travel in that first lane, the gutter lane. So that was the most affected. We didn't have to go, the entire block. It was
Just that portion?
just that portion of the street that we had to reconstruct.
Okay. And then similar to Council District 12?
Yes, sir. Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. Commissioners, any other questions or comments? All right. Seeing none, have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving forward to item number 4, Bureau Heads Update. First up, we have Bureau of Contract Administration, our Director and Inspector, Mr. John Reamer. And we appreciate you coming in person.
Well, good morning, Board, Commissioners. My name is John Reamer. I'm your Inspector of Public Works, the Director of the Bureau of Contract Administration. I first of all want to thank you again for continuing this item and apologize for not making it last week. I must admit, however, it sort of worked out nicely, and you'll hear that in the presentation that I have this morning. I see that I'm the last one speaking, so I don't want to hold you from your busy schedule. I know you have a lot to do. I have 3 areas that I want to share with you, and for the public listening today or those who may listen in the future, the Bureau of Contract Administration is one of 5 active bureaus in the Department of Public Works. Bureau of Sanitation, Bureau of Street Services, Bureau of Engineering, and the Bureau of Street Lighting, the other four. Our task is simply to ensure that those who are performing work in the public right-of-way from a construction standpoint, or those that are doing business with the city from a contractual standpoint, are adhering to the guidelines, the stipulations, the contract requirements. And so the three areas that I want to share with you this morning are pressing, I believe. They're happening now, so it's quite timely for me being here this morning. One being wet weather erosion control. The second is going to speak to our outreach efforts as it relates to procurement opportunities for businesses. And then the third and final will be a status on the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise program that the federal government has and the impact that we are seeing because of a recent change that has taken place. And I'll go in that order. That's why I said it's timely, because this past week we had early rainstorms. So had I gone last Friday, it would have been looking forward, but now I can give you some insight as it relates to looking back. With respect to the wet weather erosion control, your board is responsible for ensuring that erosion control measures are implemented in the city of Los Angeles. The municipal code empowers you to make sure that anything that could compromise the public right-of-way is addressed in a timely manner. And back in 1970, this board, in conjunction with other bureaus, Bureau of Contract Administration being one, Bureau of Engineering, Streets LA, Department of Building and Safety, put together an erosion control plan that, for lack of a better way of saying it, it makes sure that any property, any private property that has been disturbed, the grading has created an environment where there could potentially be runoff into the public right-of-way. It is addressed through a means of erosion control. For those listening, erosion control would be any water falling on property and causing anything that's loose to wash into the public right-of-way, creating a dangerous situation. We begin this process, the city family, and it includes the Bureau of Engineering, as I alluded to, the Department of Building and Safety, the Bureau of Contract Administration. We're beginning as early as July of every year. And what happens is that the Department of Building and Safety will provide the Bureau of Contract Administration a list of construction sites where permits have been pulled, grading permits, that strongly suggest that work is going to be done in such a way as to disturb the earth that would normally be compacted and landscaped in such a way that when water falls, it could move, it could wash into the public right-of-way and create a problem. In August, after we get this list, the Bureau of Contract Administration, we send out to all of those sites a letter informing them of their responsibility to ensure that they have adequate erosion control measures in place. In September, the Bureau of Engineering lets us know how many of the permits have responded and responded in a proper manner. And then we start, the Bureau of Contract Administration, letting those who have not responded, remind them that they have a responsibility to put those measures in place. The rainy season the rainy season is October 15th to April 15th. We start the beginning of October, so we had already started, but this storm that we just had last week, it put everything into motion. We start going around and looking at all of the sites to make sure that these erosion control measures that are supposed to be in place are in place, and they're in place properly. Not all of them are in place properly, or some of them could have been put in place and they could have been disturbed for whatever reason. And we work with the permittees to make sure that what needs to happen does indeed happen. There is a partnership here. Street Services, or Streets LA, is a partner in that as well, because what happens is that if we have a property where we find that the erosion control measures are not adequate, and we reach out to the property owner, and we cannot get compliance, then our partners in Streets LA, they will do what is needed to make sure that the public right-of-way is not compromised. And you can imagine what could happen: debris flow, moving into the street, moving across the sidewalk. It can create liability in a number of ways. Ours is to make sure that that is mitigated, if it needs to be mitigated, as quickly as possible. This past rainstorm, in your package that I shared with you, toward the end, if I were to mark it as an appendix, it would be. It's the second to the last page. You have a report from the last rainstorm that we have. This happens after every storm. So whenever there is a forecast of 40% chance of rain or more, then our men and women in the Bureau of Contract Administration mobilize and we go out to the various sites to ensure that nothing is compromised. There is not a potential challenge that could present a safety problem. This past storm, we had 39 inspectors deployed over 98 sites. And typically, building and safety will give us anywhere from 200 and 250 sites that permits have been pulled to grading permits, and we monitor them to make sure that there are no issues. For this past storm, as the report shows, 198. What's a little different this year, and we saw a little bit of it last year, is unfortunately the Palisades. The Palisades, in response to the wildfires, and we know the devastation that took place there, the majority of those sites would fall under the erosion control program. The challenge here is that, how can I say it? We had two approaches to addressing the debris removal. One was conducted by the Army Corps of Engineers. The others were conducted by private contractors based on property owners that did not want to opt into the system used by the Army Corps of Engineers. In both instances, they all installed erosion control measures. If I were to put all of them in this report, we'd have over 5,000 sites that we would have to monitor. So for the Palisades area, the Public Works family as a whole, we've been monitoring that under the stormwater prevention and making sure that debris basins, catch basins, where necessary, K-rails are all in place to protect the entire area. So you also have in this report our efforts to address that as well. That started the night before the rain, which would have been Monday, October 13th, and it continued the next day. And we had 6 inspectors primarily making sure that debris basins, and those are areas where as mud flow and water is coming down in the channels that we've identified, stormwater channels, we have collection basins to allow that water to funnel into it and then capture those things that we do not want going into the ocean. We do not want going into our storm drain system, debris basins. They will fill up, and they will fill up quite rapidly. And part of our emergency sewer repair, storm drain repair system is to go and clean those out when necessary. So that report is there for you. This happens every year. It will continue to happen through this rainy season. I get a report after every storm letting me know what we did, what happened. If we come across something, if we had to mobilize Streets LA, what that entailed. But the partnership, it flows, no pun intended, seamlessly. Everyone knows who to talk to, who to get in contact with, and it works quite well. Let me pause. Any questions on erosion control?
Question.
Yes, Commissioner.
Are you also interacting with DOT for any issues with having to shut off streets or control streets? How does that relationship work?
Absolutely. Great question. When necessary, we certainly do. We do have a connection with Department of Transportation. I can't imagine, and I've been doing this for, I won't say how long, a long time, where we've had a problem where we've needed to close a street. And I say that for this reason, because of the proactive approach to doing this. We're looking at sites before the rains even come. So when we get the information from Building and Safety in July, and then we're sending out information in August and September, we're already having a good idea of what locations have erosion control methods, which ones are quite possibly going to be challenging. And we're talking to those property owners. If we see something that's a concern to us, the Bureau of Engineering does a fantastic job in making sure that the erosion control measures are adequate. So when they're submitted to the Bureau of Engineering, they're not always accepted. Sometimes they have to be improved based on the condition. So we haven't really had a case where something has just failed completely and we've had to close a street. Not only that, let me speak to the Bureau of Streets LA. They're phenomenal also in their response. So when we call them, they're there. And if there is a case where we need to call them, their response is to a point where we really don't need to close the street because we recognize how important it is to preserve mobility in the midst of a storm. We don't want people out, but for those who are out, especially our emergency services, we need them to be able to move in and out of areas. I can recall, to tell a story, when I did this myself, the Hollywood Hills can be quite challenging. I mean, roads are already narrow, so we find it's better to address the issue before the rains come so that when they do come, we don't have those issues. But to answer your question again, yes, we do have a relationship with DOT when needed to get them out.
Thank you. President Pro Tem Grant.
So, as I understand, it's the Department of Building and Safety that first defines the list of those permits that possibly could be in danger of erosion, and then you all go out there and check to see if the plan is adequate to prevent that erosion?
Right. The concern that we have is anything that Public Works has no control over, work done on private property. And that's where building and safety comes in, because if there is a grading permit that's pulled, if there is one, you raise a good point. We've had situations where someone was doing work on private property and they did not pull a permit with building and safety, and we come to find out about it.
Right.
And we employ the same approaches. It can be a little challenging in identifying who that could be because we don't know other than an address. But that's how we get this started. Those who are doing what they should do, they pull a grading permit through building and safety, and then building and safety lets us know that work is going to be going on in this area that could potentially impact the public right of way in the event of a rainstorm, and then our system kicks in.
And then, just because there's been a lot of discussion around the question of where technology can improve our ability to identify problems, but frankly also to replace labor. In terms of the inspection, is there or drones or whatnot possible? What do you actually need somebody? It's just somewhat of a softball question to you, to actually go firsthand and see it, exactly understand what the erosion control measures are?
Oh, well, I welcome the softball questions. So you throw as many of them as you can. In my GM review memo to the mayor this year, one of the things that we are exploring is virtual inspection. We recognize, because of resource challenges, that many hands, when we have them, make light work, but we don't have many hands. So how can we, as you said, use technology to do two things? Expand our reach, and at the same time, not compromise safety of our inspectors for those areas that might be a little problematic in trying to access when the rain is falling. So yes, we have not yet implemented, but we're looking into the use of technology for something just like you raise.
And are there provisions for like a secondary erosion control response? So say the flood is more challenging or whatever, the erosion, and the initial erosion control measures were not adequate to prevent it. Is there generally in place, or is it sort of on the spot? It's like, okay, the erosion's come here, now we've got to come up with a secondary plan of controlling the erosion. Is that part of the initial process, or is that sort of on the fly after the erosion?
No, that's part of the process. Okay. And let me build on it. As we saw this past rainstorm, the city has matured and grown, and we now activate our Emergency Operations Center. So we're communicating information to the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, so that where we need additional, more robust resources, up to and including fire, the EOC is aware of that. So all of that communication it's grown and it's matured, and it's come together as one now. And in times past, it was just the department itself. But now we have a seat at the Emergency Operations Center especially when it's activated. And we're flowing, again, no pun intended, we're moving information. I got to get away from the word flow. We're moving information there so that the city family as a whole, not just Public Works, but all the city family knows, especially if it's a critical area, it could impact not just that property in that immediate area, but surrounding areas as well.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments on this portion? All right.
So the other thing that the Bureau of Contract Administration does on behalf of the board is to ensure not just that businesses who are performing work for the city, but those businesses who would like to have a contractual relationship with the city are made aware and have an opportunity to do such. Under upcoming business outreach activity, everyone is well aware of the fact that in a few years we're going to have the world looking at us because of the LA 28 Olympics. And council has, and I know the mayor has been very involved, but council has, not too long ago, they received a report from LA 28 that spoke to what they plan on doing in the area of procurement. The Bureau of Contract Administration has been working with LA 28 to identify what possibilities could exist as it relates to procurement spend. In their report, they pledged, they being LA 28, 75% of the spend, the allowable spend that they have, will go to local businesses. Local, that's another conversation, but it includes LA County, Riverside County, Ventura County, San Bernardino County, Orange County. I'm working real hard to just keep it in LA County. Call me biased, but I am. But with that said, and then 25% of the spend would go to small businesses. All right, so that's all good and that's all great, but who are the businesses? Where are the businesses? And are there businesses that could be, but they don't know about this? And so what we did was, and what we are doing, is we launched a small business academy. And typically the Bureau of Contract Administration, we host a small business academy. We've been doing this now for about 9 years. Because we recognize how important it is to prepare our businesses so that they can not only have contractual opportunities and relationships with this department and departments in the city as a whole, but they can add to the fabric of what we want to do in Los Angeles, which is to keep it a great city and make it a greater city. But without information, and I'm gonna use the word again, information flow, it's difficult to do that. We are in the process of conducting a 2-week small business series that started this past week. And President Kang, thank you again. You were there the first night to speak to all of the businesses. We sent out a call to action memo to, some 20,000 plus businesses to let them know with a survey questionnaire to give us information back about who they are and let them know we can't promise anything but preparing you for opportunities that are going to come. And commercial break, not just the 2028 Olympics, but the FIFA World Cup, the NBA All-Star that's going to be taking place in February, the Super Bowl that's coming back. There are a number of opportunities that are going to be existing that will lead up to, plus the Olympics, and then away from. So this is an investment not just for one event, but for time and into the future. In the package that I gave you, it speaks to the agenda and the curriculum or topic that we're going to have 4 sessions. We had 121 businesses respond that said they were going to attend. For the first 2 nights, we had 57. That's not bad, 57. And I will say this, especially for those that are listening, and I made the point the opening night, we purposely are pushing hard because we want businesses that are committed and that are dedicated to deliver. No disrespect to any business out there at all, but the fact of the matter is not every athlete will make it to the finals in the Olympics. And they will go through several heats to prepare themselves, and based on their preparation and their performance will they advance to the finals. So we could call it a boot camp. we're really pressing and pushing. We made it a point, and we said the first night, if you don't attend every session, you will not receive a certificate. Because what we want to ultimately do is present to LA 28. These are businesses that have gone through, they use the word, their capacity. They've gone through a series of informational courses to get them ready, in addition to what they already do, to be able to represent not just the city well, but help you deliver these games in a successful manner. So we're holding a very high bar to make sure that we have good businesses. And the first night, I was quite frankly very impressed. Inside of this course, we have a 15-second elevator pitch. And that was their homework, and they came ready to go. They really did. And you could see the competitiveness in their wanting to deliver who they were, what they did, what they were about in 15 seconds. So they understand the gravity and the weight and the importance of this. The first week was a successful week. We finish it up next week. And ultimately, what I would like to be able to do is bring all those who graduate before you so that you'll be able to see them. We are doing this virtually. So unfortunately, I'm not able to see them like in times past, but they're there, they're energetic, and they're loving the information. We have been working with the council offices, so they are aware, and they've had an opportunity to give us businesses as well. This will not be the last one, but is the start. And LA 28 was there at the first one. They will be at the last session. So ours is, again, to expand the base, so that there's no reason to go, no disrespect to Orange and San Bernardino and Ventura and Riverside, there's no reason to go there because many of the venues, the majority of the venues are in LA County. And our goal is to ensure that the businesses that are here have not just an opportunity, but they're able to represent and engage in this economic engine that is going to take place here in Los Angeles. Any questions on this piece?
Thank you very much. Any questions on this? Mr. Reamer, are you also planning for a second round of Small Business Academy for next calendar year as well?
Well, okay, you caught me. I almost went too fast. It is my desire before this fiscal year is up to have another one. What we wanted to do was find out, based on those who responded, and then I did put that in your package. The majority of the responses came from the sectors of construction, marketing, and event production. It's my desire to, once we get through this first session, those who graduate continue to build them and strengthen them and perfect what they bring to the table. They have a good understanding of our Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement, RAMP, what it does, why it's important, why they need to be registered on it. Understand the National Industrial Classification System, NAICS codes that are used to identify the area of work that their business focuses in on, because that's what's going to be identified when procurement opportunities come. We are giving them the nuts and bolts. It's very micro of what is needed so they can understand, they can embrace and understand the language that goes out when these opportunities exist. So yes, it is my desire to have another session. How many, I'm not quite sure, but another small business, and then some smaller sessions. And that's still up in the air. So I so welcome your thoughts and ideas with respect to continuing to get our businesses in shape. That's an acronym that I used, and I'll tell you about it later, for what's coming.
Thank you. Commissioner Cardenas and then President Pro Tem Grant.
Yeah, this is great. We just had a meeting yesterday with the mayor. All the commissioners got together and we were talking about, and they did a presentation on LA 28 and all the money that's going to be coming to the city and all of the opportunities that are going to be coming to the businesses in the city. Were there any surprises from that first session that were, well, any surprises that came out of it from the participants that had any feedback that said, you know, this is what I was expecting, and this is, or what were they expecting and what did they get? type of surprises that we got? Was
No, I don't think there were any surprises. I think that I'll tell you a quick story. My son in high school played football his freshman year, and then he ran track. But he wanted to play football his senior year, and he'd been playing it all of his life. Well, when he could play all of his life, and so his senior year, he's out there and he's going and he's practicing. Everything is good, and then they have a scrimmage game. And I said, "How was it?" He said, "Dad, it was a lot faster than practice." Many of the participants are realizing it's a lot faster than practice. And so there is a humility there, which is good, which is good. We want it to be there. Not an intimidation, though. It's not, we didn't have any that says, I don't know if I can do this, but they're realizing, man, there's a lot that we did not know. And that's why we're doing this. We want to lower those barriers or those hurdles, if you will, so that they can easily jump over them, but they are appreciating that there's more to it than they thought. Which is a good thing. It's a good thing. They're not thinking that, oh, I don't need to come back. They all came back the next day. They did, which leads me to believe that they didn't think, oh, I've heard this before. I don't.
exactly?
This.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Thank you. This is really another great report. In terms of when you were identifying the different ASIC numbers, the different sectors that were, and I can't even imagine, given the 7 sort of national, international events that are coming here, that includes, event planning includes. But for those businesses, small businesses that are not familiar with RAMP, but maybe a sector that the city doesn't normally seek contractors in, have we looked, what other areas in terms of inviting folks to participate in this academy have you utilized?
So we reached out to LA 28 as well as we did our own homework. We took a look at the London Games and the Paris Games to see what were the primary procurement. LA 28 used the word taxonomy. I use the word sector, one and the same, in my opinion, were utilized. And there's roughly 9 or 10. I don't have them committed to memory. And we shared that when we did our blast, our email blast. These are the areas of procurement that typically have been used in Olympics in the past and the ones that LA 28 has identified right now. The challenge with that, Commissioner, is that let's take transportation. Transportation can be so huge. Transportation for equipment, transportation for the athlete, it can be huge. So that's what we're simmering it down. We want them all to come, and we'll work and figure out, because LA 28 is still trying to figure out exactly what and where. And to be fair to them, they haven't given us the specifics that I would like, but I recognize that's because they're still trying to figure it out. So the net is wide right now, covering a lot of areas, many of which, interestingly enough, the city does have. We do have many of them. We have security. We have event planning. We have, to some extent, hospitality and food preparation. In some way, shape, fashion, or form, the city is a lot of things that we do. So it's not so much that these are things that are very unique and isolated that we don't have. I mean, okay, no, we haven't put on an Olympics before, but I mean, cultural affairs, we have done things that involve entertainment. So I like to say, he who is faithful in little can be faithful in much. I like to say it. Someone said that before me. You probably heard it before. So, and that's what we're trying to help our businesses understand. Don't disqualify yourself by thinking you don't have what it takes now. Don't do that. We want you to come and look, the United States had a 16-year-old that made the Olympic team for Paris, who ran on the mile relay team, got a gold medal, 16 years old. So you're not too young. We want to build you. And so we recognize that there's probably going to be tiers. Those businesses that are ready to go, they don't need us at all, but they just want to sharpen their tools. Those businesses that, you know what, I'm doing this, but wow, this is something else. I haven't seen it before. Thank you very much. And then those businesses are like, is there really a place for me? Because I just started, there's a place for everyone. There is a place for everyone. And that's the message that we're sending out. We're not overselling it. We're letting them know it takes a lot of work, but we will run just as fast as you want to run, and we will go just as far as you want to go.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you for your report. So what do you need from us? How can we help?
Well, if everything goes the way I want it to go, we're going to have them in here for you to see them, and then you're going to give them the pep talk that they've never had before. I mean, you're gonna remind them, which we said to them when we opened up. We had our council president there, and we had our Board of Public Works president there. We had the mayor's office as well, and what the businesses need to know is that it's possible. And the more voices that they hear that they can do this and how they can do this, it keeps the creative juices flowing and the imagination moving. The one thing that we have not captured in this effort are those procurement opportunities outside of LA 28. Those international opportunities, as the various, and you and I have had this conversation, countries come here and they're looking where they establish their house, where they establish their training facilities, how they can go and spend time with businesses that they may be familiar with in their country. Our community parks where we're going to have viewings, those are outside of LA 28's purview, but will still provide, especially for our micro businesses, an opportunity. LA 28 did a great job, and they continue to do so. Speaking to, this will be the first Olympics where we will have venues in the Valley. All right, there's a great opportunity there to build hubs of enterprise that I don't think that's fully been tapped into yet. So any ideas and thoughts you have, we certainly welcome them.
I think with all the opportunities that we have coming up, I know we have our directors' meetings, our management meetings. It seems like maybe we ought to have a special meeting to kind of, with all of us, so to speak, because we can, simulate 5 more brains at least and 10 more eyes on the subject, and try to figure out how with our backgrounds or our knowledge of some of the communities that we are in or live in or have connections with, as to how to make that happen on the scale that we really want it to happen on.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
So the last item that I have, and the most unfortunate one, is on September 20th, the U.S. Department of Transportation, they issued an interim final rule, and it was published on October 3rd, that basically, and published and made effective immediately, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program as we know it, associated with federal contracts, federal dollars that support public works, bridges, roads. It's changing. And I have to be careful how I say this. DBE still exists, but DBE as was defined doesn't exist that way any longer. As a matter of fact, basically what it says, and I've given you the information, and I've also attached to you the latest update that we have from Caltrans. Caltrans being the state agency through which the Department of Transportation monies flow. I got to get away from that word. Move into the city. We no longer are allowed to use race nor gender to identify a disadvantaged business. And I don't want to take time trying to say what the basis for this was. That's just where we are. So what does that mean in a nutshell? Any project that the city has that was not awarded before October 3rd cannot have any language in it at all with respect to disadvantaged business. No language at all. And the city family, we are in the process. Linda McGlinchey, who is, I'm going to argue, the resident expert, she shared with me that we had an all-hands-on-deck meeting yesterday with the departments, DOT, engineering, all those who touch federal dollars, identifying what we need to do. We have one particular project that was just about to be released. We have to take it back now and sanitize it and take all the language out. There is no DBE until we're able to identify what the new definition is going to be. What the IFR says is that what will be allowed is an individual who submits for consideration their personal discriminatory statement as how it affected them or impacted them from being able to do business. My response was, okay, well, what are the guidelines? What are the stipulations? What is the criteria going to be? Someone could say that they were on their way to submit their proposal, and when they got off the bus or when they got out of their car, someone yelled at them, and it totally caused them a problem, and then they turned in their proposal late. I have no idea what criteria is going to be used. None of us know. So as a result, until we find that out, everything stops. We will need to, we being the Bureau of Contract Administration, because we are the agency that certifies businesses. We are a member of the California Unified Certification Program. I am the city's Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Liaison Officer. We will have to notify every business that we've certified as a DBE that you are no longer certified. We will be decertifying all of our DBE businesses and let them know that they will need to reapply to be certified as a DBE based on criteria that we've yet to receive. So it's unfortunate. And I'll just leave it at that. I can't talk more. I can't. I'll just leave it at that.
Understood.
But that's where we are. So I've given you the as we know, icebergs. I've given you the tip of the iceberg, but there's so much below the water that we don't have yet. We don't know yet. The DBE program is a congressional program. So I'm imagining that's why the program has not gone away. It's just been redefined. And as we know it, it was set to expire in, I think Linda told me, late 2026, where Congress was going to speak to it again. So that's where we are right now. What about existing projects? Those projects that we've already awarded and that we did have a DBE requirement. As I shared with you in the Caltrans summary, we will not be enforcing those requirements in those projects. We will not be holding contractors responsible for failing to hit those numbers. If there is a need to do a substitution, we will follow the normal guidelines that we have in the state of California, here in the city of Los Angeles, relates to a substitution to ensure that there's no bid shopping or anything like that. But we will not be requiring them to reach out to DBEs because we have no DBEs certified for them to reach out to. So in essence, those projects that we've awarded, they don't have a program either. They still have the language. We don't have to go back and scratch all the language, but we're not to enforce any of that language.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any final questions or comments to Mr. Reamer? Vice President Chavez.
Yes, so as it pertains to the impacted projects, like you mentioned one that was imminent, have we been able to quantify what the delay is going to be, and moving forward, how long do you expect it to take to update, all the documents and everything that for the new bids, for example, that are being solicited? Like, how long would it take to modify those documents?
I don't have the answer for you, Commissioner. I can get the answer. I don't know that it will take that long. Because we're not adding anything, we're just taking away. Impact, however, there'll be no impact to our project delivery and our award and your bid process. The impact will be opportunity. That's where the impact will be. And I won't know how long or how much of an impact until we find out what the new guidelines will be for the definition of disadvantaged business enterprise. But it's very clear in the IFR, the interim final ruling, that anything pertaining to race or gender cannot be used, cannot be mentioned, cannot be placed. Now, let me say this, especially to those listening. The city of Los Angeles has not wavered from nor departed from its commitment to minority and women-owned businesses. The city of Los Angeles still has a minority and women-owned business program to ensure opportunities for all. We have that. It's time-tested. This department has had the lead on that early. So whereas we live in a 209 environment, this somewhat speaking to that, outside of this being a requirement attached to federal money, the city of LA continues to and will continue to, as I understand it, give its commitment to make sure that equity and opportunity in our procurement process reflects this city and reflects the businesses in this city. It's just that when we get money from other people, we have to decide, well, do we want their money? And it's a lot of money. So because it's a lot of money, sometimes we say, okay, we'll do what we can. But I'm not convinced that this will totally prevent us from communicating and ensuring that we have an environment that reflects the city. We have sharp minds looking at this, and we've shared this with the city attorney's office. There was a webinar last week. I attended, many from the city attorney's office and my staff attended. So we're looking at to see, okay, what can we do? But as, again, we survived in 209. And one of the ways we survived in 209 was making sure that we appreciated this from the standpoint that if the goal is to ensure that there's no discrimination, one way to make sure that there's no discrimination is to make sure that there's no discrimination. Now that sounds like I'm double talking, but I'm really not. In other words, you need to monitor to make sure that it's not happening versus to say, we're going to focus on a particular group, and that's what LA has done. Someone asked me the other day, well, how are you successful? Because we make sure that our contractors reach out to everyone. WBEs, MBEs, and OBEs. We reach out to everyone. And when you don't reach out to everyone, that's problematic. So we're working at this to see what we can come up with, but right now, this is where we are.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for the long presentation, but I thank you for your patience and indulging me. Have a good weekend.
Thank you very much. And I will continue the update from Bureau of Street Lighting for Friday, October 24th, 2025. And with that, I believe that clears our desk.
Yes, we've heard all our agenda items.
Great. Thank you very much. Our next meeting will be on Monday, October 20th, 2025. The meeting is now adjourned at 11:08 a.m.